Okay, let's look at the different kinds of suspensions and how we label them. Let's just zip out to here somewhere and let's add some notes. Let's do, oopsie. Let's say our counterpoint was an F and then a C. I'm just going to do 2 bars. Imagine this is like right in the middle of a counterpoint. And then we had something like a D, so we've got a 6th. And then let's do a suspension there, and then resolve it like that. Now here, this is different than the previous thing I was just talking about the going downhill thing, because this isn't part of a sequence of suspensions. I can step or skip into a suspension. That's okay. I have to step out of it though. I can't skip or leap out of it. But I can step and I think you can leap into a suspension if you want to. Maybe not. I might have to look that one up. Leaping into a suspension seems odd. But you can definitely skip into a suspension like this. So this is all A-OK. Now let's look at what our intervals are here. So first, let's label our preparations actually. So this is going to be, this actually is going to be our preparation. This is going to be our suspension. And this is going to be our resolution. Okay? And we don't have a label for this note. It's just kind of what it is. Next, let's look at our intervals. So this interval is a 6th. This interval is an octave. This interval now is a 4th. And this interval is a 3rd. Okay, that gives us the answer we want on how to label this suspension. Because suspensions are labeled usually with 2 numbers side by side like so. Like, let me just write it up here. So we would call this a 4-3 suspension. That's what this kind of suspension is. And the reason is the suspension is on a 4th and it resolves to a 3rd. So 4-3 suspension is a 4th resolving to a 3rd. And it has a particular sound. Let's hear it. Like that. See how it wants to resolve even more. But that is a 4-3 suspension. A 4th resolving to a 3rd. So for all of these, remember that the suspension is going to have to be called by a number that is a dissonant interval first, and then a consonant interval second, because that's how it works. The suspension has to be a dissonance, the resolution has to be a consonance, and they have to be a step away, right? So all of our labels for suspensions are going to be a number and then one number lower, because it has to be a step away, and the first one's going to be a dissonant interval, and the second one is going to be a consonant interval. They all have to work that way, by definition. That's how suspensions have to work. So let's look at the other two now, 7-6 and 9-8.